Greetings. You're on the Bear Armory channel. Today we will talk about the allowed means of self-defense in China. I remind you that it is hard to make a video on the laws of another country, so if somewhere misspoke please correct. Also glad to hear the opinion of the inhabitants of China, if you watch me. Let's go. Therefore, civilians in China are not allowed to carry guns. There are only 3 circumstances under which you can legally keep a gun. The first is military personnel who must have weapons. The People's Liberation Army, People's Armed Militia, and militias can be armed with firearms. The second is armament for official use. Police, standing guards or convoys of certain persons may be armed with firearms in the line of duty. The third is arming for civilian use. Shooting competitions in stadiums, hunters, shepherds and wildlife handlers may be armed with firearms for civilian use under certain circumstances. Technically, it is possible to obtain a gun permit in China, but each case is considered individually. In this country, gun ownership is a prestigious privilege. However, this does not prevent young Chinese from taking part in shooting clubs. It is athletes who make up the bulk of gun owners in China. In civilian turnover in China is allowed to use only sporting and hunting firearms, which can be purchased by Chinese citizens under a special license from local public security authorities. By the way, the use of civilian firearms for self-defense is not provided for. It is worth noting that law enforcement, military, paramilitary and important security personnel are allowed to use firearms. Police must only use issued guns to stop serious or dangerous crimes. It turns out that not every policeman can have a gun. I think we will not go into the details of obtaining a license for hunting or sports club. It is clear that everything is very strict. By the way, remember the movies with Jackie Chan? Note that weapons in his movies are often used only by Europeans. The Chinese themselves have martial arts and practically do not use weapons, even in the movies. Moving on, airsoft air guns. Pistols and rifles are pretty much banned in China. Very easily could classify them as real firearms. Strikeball guns are also practically banned due to the Ministry of Public Security dictating very strict new criteria that defines most of these toy guns as real firearms, and a violation can result in criminal prosecution for illegal possession of firearms. Briefly on knives. I usually do not touch on this topic, but here I think it is worthwhile. Here is officially carrying small folding knives is not forbidden, but for the Chinese a knife in the hands of a tourist, for example, is something from the verge of fantasy. So I do not advise you to take with you any knife, and in general knives with a fixed blade. It is likely to be taken away from you when you enter the country. But the usual small treasure knives like Victorinox you will be allowed to enter the country. Many travelers in China have repeatedly encountered such a situation, when they were refused to sell even kitchen knives in stores. There was an experience of communication with a seller on AliExpress about the fact that in his photo locks fixing the knife, either smeared or missing, although the knife comes to the buyer with a liner in good order. The question is why? He told me that they have a very strict legislation in this regard and like scald knives with locking locks are prohibited. I don't know if it's true or not, but there is such a point. As for stun guns and pepper sprays, they are banned in their country. To summarize, I think that China is the country with the strictest laws and responsibility for carrying and owning weapons, up to and including the death penalty. Here is such a video turned out. I hope it was interesting and informative. As I said before, if anyone has something to add or correct me, I will be only glad. Also remind me that you can suggest what countries you would like to see in the next episodes.
What interesting and unusual guns do you remember? Do you know? Be sure to share your opinions in the comments. If you like this video, please click on the like button. You can support me by teasing about my stuff. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click on the bell button not to miss any new videos and be updated on the latest news. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Thanks to everyone. Bye bye.